So we're down here on this beautiful morning because I want to do an experiment. The experiment's about our brain and how it controls breathing. So it's like, according to this textbook, this book, one of my favorite books, okay, it's like a medical text for breathing. It's full of all sorts of cool graphs and stuff like that, which I have no idea what they're about. But John B. West is the author, Dr. West, and he goes on to explain, this is the best bit of the book I love. He talks about how your brain controls your breathing, okay? And a lot of the time it does. There's all sorts of things that control your breathing or have an input into how we breathe. But what I want to talk about is the brain, what he's calling the central controller, or the brainstem, the bit that comes out of the back of your brain. And what he goes on to talk about is a couple of pages and pages about how this brainstem works, and all the little bits like the apneustatic center and the pneumotaxic center and the medullary respiratory center, and how these complex interactions in your brain control your breathing. And then he goes on to talk about the cortex. So that's how we can, as he says, breathing is under voluntary control to a considerable extent. So how we change our breathing, like if we're playing an instrument or diving under the water or something like that. And then there's a two-line paragraph. And this is what I'm interested in. Other parts of the brain. Other parts of the brain, such as the limbic system and hypothalamus, can alter the pattern of breathing. For example, in emotional states such as rage and fear. So what he's really saying is that our emotions can have a link to our breathing. But because it's a classic text, medical text, he only gives us a little bit of an insight, just a little bit about rage and fear. But I reckon it's more than rage and fear. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment with this breathing control and see if I can alter it. I'm going to do something that's slightly kind of scary, because I'm going to jump in over here into the water and paddle out to the rock. Let's have a quick look at the rock. That's called Black Rock. It's one of my favorite places in the world. It's flat today, but we're going to paddle out there behind the rock. We can have a look under the water, and I'm going to dive down and hold my breath for as long as I can. So why is that scary? Because water's scary to humans, because we can drown. It's deep out there, there'll be fish, there'll be a few currents. It's a spot where there's known to be sharks, so it'll be an interesting swim. But we'll go out there, I'll take you out there and we'll have a look. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test myself how long I can hold my breath out there, and then I'm going to do a few tricks to calm my emotional state, and then I'm going to hold my breath again and we'll time it, see how we go. So it's an experiment, a live experiment. This is patchy on sound when you've got the waterproof casing on. But first I'm going to just do a breath hold, jump off the board, do a breath hold, and see how long I can get on the watch. You can see there's a bit of water around, it's a bit deep and murky under there. So anyway, here we go. I'll set my watch up, put the mask on, see what's down there, and we'll go. Terrible. That was woeful. my brainstem and that 2-paragraph limbic system saying, "Wow, this is freaking me out." So now what I'm going to do is some exercises to control my heart rate and control my breathing and see if that changes my emotional state. That time I got 30 seconds. So a little bit of breathing control completely altered what it was like under this order. So I hope that was an interesting experiment that maybe in a slightly less extreme environment you could try yourself. I'm going in.